He writes, my question is, do you think the fans are more responsible for failures in any movies nowadays? Because today with the internet, the fans show all this backlash, rage, comments, dislike, negative response towards a news or casting, trailer, announcements, pictures. Example, Ben Affleck and Gal Gadot announcements for B versus S. And can this backlash and hatred force the studios to change their vision and end up making a wrong decision? Example, Christopher Nolan re-recorded Bane's voice for The Dark Knight Rises prologue because fans said they could not understand a single word Bane said.
Well, let's start with this Bane thing. I remember, the reports came out that Nolan in the studio re-recorded Bane's voice because a lot of people said people couldn't understand him. And I believe it was either Nolan himself or somebody connected with Nolan came out and denied that. Said, no, that's not true. We didn't re-record everything. Okay, look. About 4 months or 3 months before The Dark Knight Rises came out, I got invited by Warner Brothers to go down and watch like the 10-minute intro of Dark Knight Rises with Christopher Nolan and a few other people at our AMC City Walk here in Hollywood. Oh, they re-recorded Bane's voice. Oh, I don't care. I don't care if Christopher Nolan swears on a stack of Bibles that they did. They did. Because I'm telling you, if you think it's bad in the movie, I'm telling you, we're all sitting in there watching this opening scene, in the plane and all that kind of stuff. And we're listening to voice, and I swear, it's brother. I mean, you could. I'm not exact. This, some people say, "Oh, you couldn't understand anything Bane says in The Dark Knight Rises." Yes, you can, but I'm telling you, the way it was recorded, you could not understand a bloody word he was saying. Wow. It was awful. So don't tell me they didn't re-record that, because they did. And it's good that they did. Very, very good that they did. But as far as that goes, after that, no, I think if studios are worth their salt, they don't listen to the fans when it comes to that type of stuff. Like the Batman with Ben Affleck is a great example. Yeah, there was a lot of backlash when they announced Ben Affleck as Batman, but Warner Brothers knew it was coming. They were fully prepared, so was Ben Affleck. They knew exactly what the initial onslaught, and then they knew eventually cooler heads would prevail. And they were prepared for it. And, I've made this quote a number of times. Bill Parcells, one of the greatest coaches in NFL history, said this, and it's totally true. A reporter once asked Coach Parcells if he ever listens to the fans, and Parcells said, coaches who listen to fans are destined to be sitting with them next week. And it's a great point. You're the studio, make your decision. Look, I'm not big on the Gal Gadot decision. Everybody knows that. I think it was a terrible decision. But I also think they should stick with it. And they will stick with it, because that's the direction they set. They knew people weren't going to like it, so now stick with it. And I think they should. That's why you'll never hear me, as bad of a decision I think it was, you'll never hear me say, drop Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. No, you shouldn't. Keep her. You made the choice. Now, you know your vision. I don't, so go with it. Studios do not listen to fans and instant negative reactions, stuff like that, because if they're smart, and most of them really are, as much as we call them idiots sometimes, they really are a smart bunch of people. If they're smart, they knew what the reaction was going to be ahead of time, and they understand that they know their vision and the fans don't yet. They shouldn't, and I don't think they do. Aaron, how do you see this?
Well, I guess the main question is, are fans responsible for the failure of a movie? And the answer is absolutely not, because they're not the filmmakers. How can the fans take responsibility for a movie not doing well, or for things that people don't like about a certain movie, or a critical reaction to a movie? Fans have nothing to do with that, other than creating noise about whatever topic is at hand. So absolutely not.
Yes.
Well, they can magnify stuff. I mean, let's say a movie's bad, then people online that think it's bad as well, they'll magnify that to other people, and then you'll get less people. But they won't. But they're not responsible for for the movie being a failure. The movie's already, let's say, a failure. They just amplify it. In terms of influencing studios, not really. But I mean, there's small little things. I mean, I do think that fans influenced Charlie Hunnam leaving 50 Shades of Grey. Mm-hmm. I think on both sides. I think the fans of 50 Shades of Grey influenced the studio saying, this is terrible. And I think Charlie Hunnam heard from the Sons of Anarchy fans. And
I think that's the more to the point. I think Hunnam was not prepared. This is an example, and you're absolutely right. To every rule, there's an exception. that Hunnam was not prepared for how his existing fan base would respond to him. And I think FX probably had something to do with his decision to get out of it, because Sons of Anarchy fans did not want to see Jax Teller in 50 Shades of Grey.
No. But in terms of being the creation of failures, I don't think they have that much influence.
Schnepp?
Yeah, I think what you said earlier rings true. It's not 100%. It's like 5%. Sometimes fans can destroy a film that's being made. J.J. Abrams' Superman is a perfect example. It was like on a major website, and ain't cool. They revealed the plot. All of a sudden, fans took that. It went around the internet. Lex Luthor's going to be a Kryptonian? That movie got canned. It was in production. I mean, there's a lot of movies that were in production that, due to negative trolling and fans having not read or been aware of the entire story and just taking one or two threads, I mean, that happens nowadays every day. Like, we were just commenting on Fantastic Four, and this plot thread or this synopsis has been revealed, and then you have Josh Trank saying that's totally wrong, and actually it's a half-truth. Part of it's right, part of it's not. Part of it's true, part of it's not true. You're going to just have to see it. Whether somebody outright denies, I'm not in this movie, and then when it comes out, I am in this movie, or I'm not playing this character, it's a lie. Come to realize that it's totally true. So whether or not any of this stuff on the internet is true or not doesn't really matter. And ultimately, when fans get upset that Michael Keaton, he's 5'4" and he's a comedian, Beetlejuice shouldn't be Batman, thank God no one listened to them. Right. But that's just because there wasn't an internet at that time. Yeah. So it's true, the fans have a lot of power to sway people, in fact, sway other fans, basically. But I agree with you. I think studios should stay true to what they think. And then when Ben Affleck got the Michael Keaton packet, and this is what I'm going to be getting ready for, full-on hate sandwich, and ride through it, and then we get to see what happens. So
the other thing we all got to keep in mind too is we quite often have an urban ghetto mentality that what is around us, we're surrounded pretty much with homogenized people. I mean, we're surrounded, I know, like Batman Beyond fans, that all their friends are Batman Beyond fans, so they think everybody's Batman Beyond fan. Nobody watched Batman Beyond.
I saw some of those comments about, like, John, you were wrong. There's millions of Batman Beyond. I'm like, wow.
It's like, really?
That's
really?
a lot.
But that's the way we think. To me, growing up, it was inconceivable that not everybody was a die-hard Transformers fan and wouldn't lay down their life at the command of Optimus Prime. I mean, but that was because me and my circle of friends believed that. In the internet, in the online film world, we got to keep that in mind too. Probably about 1% of moviegoers read Ain't It Cool News. 1% of moviegoers probably actively read online movie sites. So, but all of us and all of our circle of friends, we're all in it. So it feels like, there we go.
Yeah, because of the way that's Frosty is right there.
There's George back there. I'm sure there's 3 other people we know in there. Yep. And sure, it feels to us like everybody reads this stuff, because I remember when Snakes on a Plane was coming out, the whole movie web sphere was going crazy about Snakes on a Plane. So I remember talking to some people, dude, this movie's going to make $80 million opening weekend. I'm like, you're crazy. Read every site. Every site's talking about how great it's going to be. 80 million opening weekend. Okay. And opened, I don't know, like 9 million or something like that. It was kind of great. And one other thing. Some people may say, well, then John, why do they do test screenings for these films? If they're not listening to the fans, why test screenings? Because at that point, it's a different issue. Now the film is done, it's packaged, and they want to see how is our product that we made going to be received. And are there some fine tunes we can do? But that's different from pre-production and, the fans don't like this costume. Well, too bad, that's the costume we chose. The fans don't like that we cast Heath Ledger as Joker. Well, too bad, that's who we cast, So I think those are 2 kind of separate things.
If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to AMC Movie News on YouTube. It's free and a great way to stay updated with all the latest movie news, and check out our daily show, AMC Movie Talk. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter to stay in the loop for our special prizes, giveaways, and contests.